Oshi, one of the most popular Shonen Jump mangas to come out in the past few years, has finally come to an end. And if you're an anime-only fan of Oshi, you're probably thinking, wow, I love Oshi. This anime is amazing. It's so thrilling and dramatic with all these amazing characters. I wonder what's gonna happen next. But if you're someone like me who had either picked up the manga because you wanted to see what would happen after the anime, or you saw it on Shonen Jump and thought it was interesting, or you just really like this red-haired girl who is undoubtedly the GOAT of the series, then this is probably you. It's phenomenal how quickly Oshi turned from one of the most beloved series of the 2020s to one of the most criticized pieces of works of all time. Along with Jujutsu Kaisen and My Hero Academia, these mangas have had the pleasure of being dragged through the mud on social media because of their endings, whether you believe they deserved it or not. Oshi quickly went from one of the most popular series of the decade, an anime that was briefly number 1 on my anime list, a series that sold millions of copies worldwide, to becoming universally pandered by both Japanese and worldwide audiences alike. So, what happened? Why has Oshi become so hated? And is it really all deserved? In the final arc of Oshi, or the movie arc, Aqua and Ruby and the rest of their adoptive family and their friends create a movie called The 15-Year Lie that will tell the entire story of Hoshino Ai while essentially outing the father, Hikaru Kamiki, as the one who murdered her. Despite all of this, Hikaru is still unapologetic and is too far gone. Hikaru uses people who were close to Ai and manipulates them, feeding their hatred and desperation, and uses that to try and kill Ruby, who in their eyes was the biggest threat to their own fantasies of Ai. In the end, Aqua was able to find Hikaru lurking outside of the concert arena and kills Hikaru while dying in the process. Everyone is devastated for a chapter, and the story ends with everyone managing to become inspired from Aqua's death and striving to be the best version of themselves, with Ruby finally becoming the biggest idol of them all. And that's it, right? Why did so many people dislike the ending? Well, to be completely honest, one of the biggest gripes that I personally have with the ending of Oshi was the way it concluded its character arcs. First, we have Arima Kana, who throughout the entirety of the manga is someone who is portrayed as a sort of genius child actor who completely falls off in popularity when she grows up. The environment that she grows up in isn't exactly normal, and she's deprived of childhood friends and people who care about her. Her own mother flaunts Kana as a trophy child in order to get closer with big-name producers, and later ditches her own daughter as Kana becomes less popular. She comes across as whiny yet genuine, scalding yet scared, and she's someone who deeply cares about those that are important to her, even if it's not reciprocated. That's why when Aqua was the first person to treat her as an equal and as who she truly was, Kana fell deeply in love. Kana undergoes some of the most development of any character throughout the series, having turned from one of the most hated characters of the early chapters, to a character who was determined and had a newfound motivation, and wanting to make the one she loved the most smile. Then we have Akane, a character who got the vast majority of her development early in the series and is someone who comes from a theatrical background, someone who went from the lowest of lows during the reality show arc to a person that others could really depend on. Akane is able to realize what she truly wanted in life thanks to Aqua, and she was completely prepared to devote her life in order to help him with whatever he needed. Akane is a character who, in my opinion, the author didn't really capitalize on, and instead resorted to using her as a plot device, as a sort of detective who would reveal to the reader key details in order to keep the story moving. Finally, we have Ruby, who is the reincarnated soul of Serena, a girl who undergoes probably the most trauma and suffering out of any character in the series. She is shunned by her previous family, has watched numerous loved ones pass away, all in order for her to grow up and achieve her dreams of becoming just like her mother Ai. Only, she realizes that that's not what she truly wants. During the whole Dark Ruby arc, she is consumed by vengeance and the hate for the person that murdered her beloved doctor and mother, and through her innate abilities is able to climb the entertainment industry ladder, only to find nothing at the top. It's Aqua that brings her back from the darkness, makes her realize that there are some things that are worth protecting, and helps motivate her to become her own self, not out of hatred, but out of love for those around her. And so, these three characters and their character arcs are what makes the ending of Oshi that much more frustrating to see unfold. Because in the end we have Aqua, the main character, the man with a plan, the reincarnated soul of a middle-aged doctor, who saw his mother get killed by his family and decided to spend his entire life plotting revenge against him. Except, did he really need to die for his plan to work? We see a constant message throughout the manga that there lies a world beyond revenge. Aqua's character is engulfed in this vengeful dream, and he constantly shuns his friends and family in order to follow through with what he believes is his only goal in life. Except, it's not. It's through people like Akane and Kana and Ruby and so many other characters that Aqua realizes that he actually cares for much more than simply revenge. He realizes that these other people are important to him and that he is important to them. And then he freaking dies. You can argue that his death was for the sake of his sister, that he went through with this plan in order to protect Ruby's reputation and not stain it in the process of protecting her from their father. But to me, it feels incredibly shoehorned in for shock value, and his death just seems completely unnecessary. First of all, there was no sense of urgency or desperation that was required in order to really make it feel like Aqua's plan was really needed. Akane had already mentioned numerous times that there could be other ways that she could help him out if he needed to take out Hikaru, and it's tough to see how Hikaru posed such a massive threat, as his reputation was already completely exposed and tarnished from the release of the 15-Year Lie movie. I don't necessarily mind if Aqua ends up needing to die in the story, but it really feels like Aqua throws his life away for nothing, especially considering all of the messaging about Aqua's redemption from his path of vengeance to realizing that killing Hikaru wasn't the only option, only for him to die anyway. And even if you ignore all the actual logical reasons for Aqua's plan, it's still dumb. The damage that Aqua does to his friends because of his plan might be even greater than what would have happened had he left his father alone. Ruby mentions countless times how much she cared for him, how he was the reason that she was able to keep going as an idol. She'd be willing to go extreme lengths in order to help Aqua and those whom she loved. Akane goes through multiple chapters talking about how she was going to stop Aqua from going through with his plan, only to do literally nothing at the end. Kana and Aqua's relationship with each other gets completely nullified as well, leaving both of them with no closure with one another. And the ending after the plan to me felt very rushed as well. Ruby's entire arc about realizing that she needed to grow up into her own person, that she shouldn't just follow in Ai's footsteps, just evaporates into thin air within a couple chapters. How Kana and Akane are able to process their grief and assimilate back into society takes place within a few pages, and there is almost no mention of the many side characters like Aqua's half-brother or Memchill, who essentially disappear from the story halfway through, even though there was so much untapped potential within those characters. The ending of Oshino Code gives almost no closure to the readers, and even if the author intended on having Aqua die at the end of the story ends within a few chapters while completely reversing Ruby's character arc and nullifying any meaning there was to Aqua's relationship with his friends. But remember, these are only my opinions. What do you guys think about the Oshino Code ending? Please let me know.